May 5th is Wellbeing in Law Week. And what does this mean? Well, what it means is um, that law firms are encouraged to recognize the well being of their individuals, their partners, their associates, their staff, as well as their clients. So, what I wanted to do is just introduce Wellbeing in Law Week for those of you who are not aware of it. It's May 1st through May 5th. And so there's all kinds of things that you can do through the bar associations, through other organizations internally. There's going to be tons of stuff about it on LinkedIn. And probably the bar associations as well will be sending information. So here's one of the examples I'm going to give on why well-being is important in the law. So I was trying to do LinkedIn Lives, which I'm doing now. And the first couple of times I tried it, they were absolutely abysmal. And I was like, oh, I can't. I'm just not a LinkedIn Live person. That's it. I'm not going to do this. It's uncomfortable. And I was kind of like, la, 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 LinkedIn Live. And so what I decided to do was take a step back from it and figure out, like, what is LinkedIn Live? Is it important for everybody? Does it work? What's the purpose of it? And what I realized is that I was trying to do these scripted things that really kind of came across like I was just like dark and dismal, and it was just really kind of pathetic. So I took a step back from it, and I decided that what I was going to do is do things that were a little bit more candid. And in doing that, what I found is that on one end, I thought that LinkedIn Lives weren't for everybody. I was like, okay, some people are really good at it. Some people are terrible at it. I might still be terrible at it. Who knows? But what I decided was that even though I was abysmal at it the first couple of times, did not mean that I wasn't going to be able to succeed at it, and that you have to kind of keep trying, and that everybody moves in a direction at their own pace. Everybody doesn't move at the same pace. Everybody doesn't think the same way. Everybody doesn't feel the same way. Everybody does not have the same experiences. And so the way I look at Wellbeing in Law Week is that it's an opportunity for everybody in the legal community to recognize that well-being is important, which we all know. It goes along, diversity, equity, inclusion is important, well-being is important. But what's really important is recognizing that people need a sense of belonging at work. They need to feel psychological safety, which is a tough thing to do in a work environment, because let's face it, there's not a lot of psychological safety at work. But if you can accept that some people are good at LinkedIn Lives right out of the gate, some people, not so much, that everybody learns at different rates and at different paces and at different levels. That doesn't mean that because Joe is excelling very quickly and gets it, and I don't know, George is kind of not really 100% sure. That doesn't mean that George isn't as good. That just means that maybe George learns differently, and that some patience and a little bit of space given to find out how George learns and how he works and how his mind works could be helpful, and you could end up with a shining star in your firm. If you ignore George and say, oh, he's just not getting it, he's a first year associate, he's never, he's not getting in the hours, like he looks like he's struggling. If you feed into that dialogue and don't do anything to help George, not only are you not helping George, you're not helping your firm, you're not helping your legal organization, because George may have ideas that he processes differently, and he may end up coming up with these phenomenal, transformative ideas on how to serve a client, how to argue a case, how to negotiate a deal that somebody else who gets it right off the bat may not come up with. And so it behooves all of us to look at Wellbeing in Law Week as an opportunity to take a look at our people, take a look at how people learn, and have patience and think through what we can do to create a sense of belonging, what we can do to create a sense of competence for different people who learn different ways. So I'll go back to the LinkedIn Live, which was terrible. My old LinkedIn Lives, they were just absolutely awful. I can't, anybody, there were 69 views on one of them, and I actually decided, okay, if there were 69 views on one of them, I had better put some more out there that are a little bit better. Because not only am I not helping myself, I'm not helping anybody in this audience right now. So, one of the other examples that I wanted to provide today is I was on a call with a group of legal leaders, let's call them. And there was a debate going back and forth on how to handle something. And I spoke up and I said, well, it seems to me that here's an issue here and here's an issue here, and you're trying to figure out how to solve the both of them at the same time. So has anybody thought about perhaps maybe doing this, or perhaps maybe doing this, looking at it from a different angle? And the response I got from the person who is the leader in the meeting, to me, was quite dismissive. It was short-sighted. It was almost like a canned response that this person uses anytime they, hear something that, they don't like. Canned response. And it made me feel really bad because I really, really, really care about the topic that was being discussed. And I really want to see success. Like, I want the people who were discussing it to have success. So it bothered me because I went through this this thought process of, well, maybe I don't communicate properly. Maybe I don't communicate in a way in which people can understand. Maybe I just sound like his nagging wife. Who the hell knows? I don't know. But what saddened me the most about it was me, somebody who well-intentioned and pretty versed in experience in this particular situation, offered some food for thought and offered some potential solutions, a slate of them, like 1, 2, 3. I didn't just say, you should do this. And the person who was in charge of making the decision, as opposed to actively listening and taking a step back to process the information and ask for more feedback based on what I said, decided that I was going to be dismissed. Now, my ego aside, I mean, was my ego hurt? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened. It did make me question my communication skills to determine maybe I'm not communicating in a way which this person can digest it. Maybe what I think I'm saying is not what it sounds like I'm saying to other people. I don't know what the answer is. I will continue to work on this on my own and not take up any more of your time. But what I did realize is that by this person dismissing me, what do they do to other people? Junior associates, people who work for them. It sounds like they're complimenting them, but really what they're doing is they're dismissing, because if they're so quick to jump on this platform of their support for these individuals, they haven't actually heard what I've said, because I too am supporting them, and from a very real and very caring perspective. And so I wondered if this person actually does this in more than one scenario. Do they do it at work? Do they do it at home? But if they do it at work and they work in a law firm, what's the impact on their staff? What's the impact on the other partners and the associates that work for this person? Are they feeling like they're being heard? Do they feel like they belong? Or are they walking away from meetings with this person thinking the same thing I did? Did I say something wrong? Did I not say it the right way? I don't know. So I think that Wellbeing in Law Week is really about, for those people who are struggling, know that you're not alone. Um, find ways to communicate with people who you resonate with, because sometimes you go to speak to somebody and it's not the wrong person, but maybe not the person who's as capable of hearing what you're trying to say as somebody else may be. So if you are struggling, find somebody you can talk to who is empathetic and will be helpful. I'm not saying agree with you, I'm saying be helpful and help you process through the information. And if you're one of those senior people who think you have it all figured out and think that, I just want my guys to get back to work or my women to get back to work, whatever gender you want to use. I use guys because it's like an Australian thing and it means men and women and everybody. It just means people. So you want your people to get back to work. um, but if you're one of those people who just really wants to get your people back to work and you don't think you care about their feelings or what's going on with their family or why they took today off because they broke their leg or got diagnosed with cancer or their dog died or their mom is ill or whatever the reason is, I want you also to take a step back and think about how your behavior creates the workplace culture you have. And is it serving you well? Is it getting you more clients? Is it making you a transformative organization that can provide top-notch, innovative services for your clients? Chances are it's probably not. And if you're sticking with the status quo and not taking the leap, the chances are you're going to find yourself starting to fall behind. I'm going to be a doomsday person about this, but it is a reality. Workplace well-being is not getting so much traction. You're not hearing so much about it because it's smoke and mirrors. It's something real. It's something that's needed. So for today, takeaway with all of this babbling that I just did is that I'm going to continue to try to do LinkedIn Lives like this one to see if they get any better. And what I'm going to ask is that lawyers, legal staff, partners, associates, in-house counsel, whoever you are, solo practitioner, I want all of you to just think for the next couple of weeks, what would you like your organization to look like? What would you like your firm to look like? What would you like your day to look like for yourself, for your staff, for the people you report to as we approach Wellbeing and Law Week? And let's see if we can do some of it. Okay? Thanks. Have a good day.